success. But you will have to otherwise prioritize the cases that will require and are likely to survive from resuscitation. So I gave you one example. I told you, if a person comes in a moribund state and he's got a life-limiting illness or he's got advanced COVID-19, so such patients are very less likely to recover. Yeah. So in that case, then you may choose not to resuscitate very aggressively. And during resuscitation, we have to take all infection control measures. Okay. So you should be wearing your gown, you should be wearing your gloves, you should have an N95 mask, you should have your shield. Okay. All these things are important while resuscitating. Nowadays, we don't know which are the patients with COVID-19 and which don't have. And so therefore, we have to take precautions. Of course, now, we are into the second wave, now going to the third wave. Now everybody is vaccinated also. So please don't be scared. Now we have to get back to our business. And what is our business as doctors and nurses? To save lives, to provide comfort, to reduce suffering. Don't be scared. Okay? Okay, so you have an example. 75-year-old cardiac arrest, admitted previous night with fever, nursing home inmate, previous brainstem stroke, persistent vegetative state. So what do you think? Here resuscitation is probably not going to help. So already in your mind you have this resuscitation is not going to help. But when we do any of these interventions, we have to also involve the family. If you think of the principles of ethics, we have to take consent. So even for not doing CPR, we have to take consent. Yeah. So here I feel that it is not going to help. But I will also discuss, now I can't discuss with this lady. She's 75, brainstem stroke. So I'll need to talk to some relative. But I don't know what the status is. So then I may have to start resuscitation. But as soon as I start resuscitation, I'll call up the person who's concerned and ask her, is there a do not resuscitate order? Now DNR orders are allowed in India. So the guideline from the ICMR, which says that you need not resuscitate everybody. So it's important. Okay. So code blue is activated, found unresponsive in bed, no pulse was detected. Last confirmed observation was 15 to 20 minutes back or earlier on the medication round. There's no person present at the bedside. So one code blue has been called. So you're among the code blue nurses or code blue doctors. So one ward resident, 2 nurses have started CPR. Chest compression, mask ventilation have been performed. The defibrillator and the code team has arrived. Will you continue CPR? Would you have started CPR? So these are all questions. So like all medical procedures, the need to implement CPR should be considered on benefit burden basis. Many patients will derive very little benefit from CPR. So those you should not be very aggressive. Then talk to the family. If it is appropriate, stop. Do not resuscitate. So there are 2 considerations. One consideration is it non-beneficial? The second is the patient's wish. Here in this case it is non-beneficial clearly. But we don't know what the patient's wish was or what the patient's family's wish was. So how will you come to know? Has there been an advance directive? Is there a do not resuscitate order? Is the person terminally ill and is having a poor quality of life? So this person is having terminally ill and poor quality of life, but we don't know about the do not resuscitate or advance directive. So now, this has changed a little bit now. So the change that has occurred is, like I said, do not resuscitate orders are now considered quasi-legal. So you can document them down. You can write them down and you can write this person is do not resuscitate. For advance directives, there is no complete legal standing, but the Supreme Court has given permission. It says that in a patient who is terminally ill, so now many patients with COVID-19 who come moribund, elderly, they are not going to survive. You don't have a written advance directive. You don't have a do not resuscitate order, but there the risk of resuscitation is going to outweigh the benefit, not only to the patient, but also to the healthcare personnel. So there you can choose not to resuscitate, but then be clear in your mind. And if there are relatives now, ask them to wait outside, because for them it's very difficult to decide. So you've decided not to resuscitate. So 3-4 people are there at the bedside. Someone is getting an IV, putting on the monitor. The senior most person goes and talks to the family. Tells them, bhai, you've brought the patient in a very moribund state. From this state, patients with COVID-19 do not recover. See, 9A doctor, आत्तापर्यंत बोलत होती. She was in the rickshaw only. बसली होती छान. आमशी बोलत होती आणि हे झालं. पण मग केव्हापासून आजारी होती? नाही डॉक्टर, गेले 3-4 दिवस तिला खूप दम लागतोय. तुमच्याकडे पल्स ऑक्सिमीटर आहे ना, पल्स ऑक्सिमीटर, मग किती होतं सर 70 होता, गेले 6 तास 70 होता. सो यू नो दॅट दिस पर्सन नॉट गोइंग टू गेट रिससिटेटेड. सो देन यू टॉक टू देम अगेन, टेल देम ओके आम्ही सगळं बघतो आणि काय होतं ते बघतो. देन यू गो इनसाइड, let your efforts be not very aggressive, and then after some time go back and tell them, look, it's not going to help. Okay, huh? So this is something you may have to do sometimes, but all the time it should be with communication with the patient. So I'm not going to go through this algorithm, I've already described it to you, what you have to do. So these are the things you need to document, but that's a different class, so we are not going to go into that. We are talking about when to initiate and when to stop. So now here, now I don't have the family's permission to stop. I need some permission. So I'll try and locate. She's from a nursing home, so she's staying alone. वृद्धाश्रमात आहे. सो त्या पिरियडमध्ये मग मी कंटिन्यू करतोय. एसिस्टली झालंय, करेक्टेबल कॉजेस नाही आहेत, CPR कंटिन्यू केलंय, ॲड्रेनालिन 1 मिलीग्रॅम एव्हरी 3 to 5 minutes देतोय, इंट्युबेशन केलं, पण 30 मिनिटानंतर पर्सिस्टंट एसिस्टली, तर इथे तर थांबवायलाच पाहिजे. So when to stop? Usually a combination of things. So if asystole is there and it is there for 30 minutes and you don't have correctable cause, then you can stop. Chance of RSC. So here already there was neurodeficit. Chance of survival to hospital discharge. So if these are low, then you should not resuscitate very aggressively. So you can see here how the chances of return to spontaneous circulation reduce as time passes. So these are 4 outcome predictors. Cardiac arrest in a non-monitored area. So our patient was in the ward. 15-20 मिनिटं कोणी बघितलंच नव्हतं. That is not a problem with the nurses, because if you're going to one nurse with 15 patients, how are you going to look after all patients at the same time? So sometimes it may happen that 15 to 20 minutes go. But in this elderly patient, then you'll say, okay, accepted. Older patient with comorbid conditions, she was old and she had a brainstem stroke. She had a non-shockable rhythm. She had asystole. There was a 10 to 15 minute gap to start CPR. CPR for 30 minutes was without return of spontaneous circulation. There were no brainstem reflexes. Now this ETCO2 is an important intervention. Now we are trying to see if we can get ETCO2 on the code blue monitors. हाँ संतोष, code blue monitor के ऊपर अगर ETCO2 रहा ना, so we have now asked for defibrillators which have ETCO2 also. So then you will be able to make this out also. So if the ETCO2 is low, आता low ETCO2 म्हणजे काय? See, if person is alive ना, the cells are functioning. So what do the cells do? What do they consume? They consume oxygen. What is the end product of metabolism? Carbon dioxide. So if the cells are not functioning, carbon dioxide is not being produced, and so the ETCO2 will be low. So if the ETCO2 is low, it is a sign of death. Okay, that's why ETCO2 is important. So what did we do actually in this case? We spoke to the relative, then we talked to the primary consultant, and we decided not to continue CPR. Okay, so when not to start CPR, if there's a clearly expressed patient wish, and when to stop CPR, all these findings. Asystole, cardiac arrest in non-monitored area, older patient with comorbid condition, non-shockable, more than 10-15 minutes to start CPR, absence of all brainstem reflexes, and persistent low ETCO2. Any questions?